So I'm thinking about TV shows. And you know how when Game of Thrones was coming out, one episode per week, at least that was like the one show that I was really into with my buddies. Every weekend, every Sunday, it'd pop out and everyone get in a room, pop some popcorn, and just watch the episode. And that was the most hype that I've ever felt about a TV show ever, especially with a group of comrades. Same goes for a video game. Get really excited about it. You can't stop thinking about it. After months goes by, you're like super good at the video game. You know what I mean? Like you're really good. Like you know more about the video game than you do about cooking your lunch every day because you're just passionate. Something clicks, right? And that's how projects are supposed to be. We're made to believe that we need to go through life, and life is all about like changing domains all the time and like doing these tasks that don't really feel like they have any connection to some overarching purpose. And for whatever reason, I did not learn that until now. Now it might be more prevalent in your communities. Amazing, right? I'm at a point where I'm just figuring that out. So I've been focusing on particular projects and watching them come to life while continuing to focus on them. But that's been the hardest part, has just been the consistency, staying consistent within the particular project domain while not letting outside opinion steer me, while truly listening to myself. And it sounds so selfish. And then I realized once I actually do it that it's the most selfless thing that I could do. So yeah, this whole life is quite a bit of a paradox. And I feel like the purpose of living is to become aware of the paradox and then just enjoy the feedback loop. And it's like, we're light passing through and grounding ourselves, and our galaxy is wobbling, right? So we are in wildly different literal spaces constantly, but we have gotten used to the orbital nature in our particular speed, and what we find is, this feels normal, right? Like it took us a lot of time to feel this particular way. Lovely times, interesting times. I appreciate you guys chiming in, and focus on the things that you love to focus on, and then see how you could offer that as some sort of beneficial point of connection for someone else and yourself to experience, whether that's a book that you want to write and then sell for an experience, and that transaction is an experience of its own, which is why a lot of entrepreneurs will say, you should start up a YouTube channel too. You should start up a school page, a LinkedIn page for your business or yourself. So you have all these points of connection with the overarching goal of exhibiting awareness, experiencing awareness for ourselves in the most selfish form of being selfless. So, you take a book, right? And you have a transaction with somebody. It's like maybe you're sitting at your book stand at the market and downtown Palafox, and then you've got your books there, and I'm a published author. These are my books, right? And then like someone comes up, it's like, oh, hey, cool book. I love the cover. I love what you've done with it. The title, can you explain the title? You start talking about the book, and then you get into a conversation like, oh, like why did you write this book? What did it inspire? Or what are you doing now? Like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I wrote this book because I really wanted to challenge myself at doing something that I've never done before. For me, particular, I wrote a book recently called Solving the Unsolvable. The impossible is just the undiscovered. And I wrote this book with the sole purpose of going after this particularly impossible problem to me in the complete sense. The only kind of shed of light, or the only reason I was even interested in wanting to solve this particular problem, was because I just happened to come across my radar of just I was installing an API for one of my software projects, a productivity app, and I saw this. I wanted to have a frontier research feature of my app, so I installed. I was developing an API for open problems that are famously open. The air dose problems came about. It was here. Yeah, this air dose problems came about, and I was immediately intrigued. It's like, oh, air dose problems, what's that about? So I set up an API to pull all of these problems over into my particular app. This is my app. And when you go into here, you can get particular ideas for frontier research. So that is what I am working on, and this is not showing me the particular frontier research space, but that's okay. The API I had set up is in a different version of my app. This is a development environment that I'm working on. And the one that I am currently iterating through is the branch where I can see all of these problems. So I found the entire problem list, and these are all different problems that are open, random solved, or we can do a random open problem. So I did a random open problem, and I saw this particular problem. And then I saw this word sunflower, and I was like, oh, that's super interesting. So I'm going to look into this more. So I looked into it more, and this is my name, Sprout Seeds, and I wanted to solve it, right? But it's a totally impossible problem for me to even think about, or that idea. And then it just started I started thinking about the word impossible, what it really meant to me. And then thinking about, well, it's really impossible just literally means, it just means undiscovered. It literally just is it's a catch-all. That's what it is. That's a great way to put it. It's a catch-all for undiscovered, for everything that we do not know yet, or, right now. But I guess it's always yet, right? Like, we're always learning more about the moment that we are experiencing. And if we can choose the moment that we experience, then we choose the domain of knowledge. We choose the domain of wisdom. We're constantly getting stronger in the space that we are choosing to live in. This makes sense. So the more I spend time with problems like this, or, a different problem, maybe a $10 hauler, what's this about? I don't know. No idea what it is about, but I could just copy it. I could go into a more informal setting of ChatGPT and say, hey, please explain this problem to me. Get feedback almost instantly, right? Great question. This is a classic number theory puzzle that looks simple but hides a lot of depth. Let's unpack it carefully and intuitively. The objects in play, divisors, it breaks down the entire problem. Now I'm like, oh, maybe I should jump into it. What the Erdos problem is asking. The highlighted question is actually two related open questions. Are there any odd, weird numbers? All known weird numbers are even. Results so far. None exists below 10 to the 21. Getting a message? No. If an odd, weird number exists, it must have at least 6 distinct prime factors, be astronomically large, but no proof yet that odd, weird numbers are impossible. Are there infinitely many primitive weird numbers? A weird number is primitive if none of its proper divisors are weird. This matters because if all weird numbers are just multiples of smaller weird numbers, the structure would be degenerate. Primitive weird numbers represent genuinely new weirdness. Conditional result. If prime gaps behave as conjectured, then there are infinitely many primitive weird numbers. But this depends on unproven assumptions about primes. Why this problem is subtle and beautiful. This problem sits at the intersection of multiplicative number theory, divisor functions, prime factorizations, additive combinatorics, computational hardness, prime distribution. That's why Erdos liked it. Simple to state, brutally hard to finish. Extra facts worth knowing. Weird numbers have positive density, not rare. The sequence of weird numbers is cataloged as OEIS, okay? If no odd weird numbers exist, then every weird number has bounded abundance. A strong structural constraint. Mental model. The right way to think about it. Think of a number's divisors as weights. Abundant, you have enough total weight. Pseudo-perfect, you can arrange the weights to balance exactly. Weird, you have too much weight, but it's distributed in a way that can't balance. That distribution geometry is the mystery. Why this might resonate with your work. Oh, it's touching on some work that I'm doing. This is very much a structure versus entropy problem. You have surplus resources, but no coherent way to assemble them into a target. Global abundance, local obstruction. The same theme shows up in proof search, configuration space exhaustion, emergent structure detection. If you want, next we can walk through why 70 is weird step by step, explore how weirdness numbers are constructed, or map this problem into search, proof, engine framing, sunflower style. I think you are hinting at wanting to... Well, they literally said it. No, they're not even hinting at it. Yeah, let's map it to sunflower style, proof engine framing, and follow up with exploring how weird numbers are constructed, and walk through why 70 is weird step by step. Sweet. I've noticed, like, going back up the list, what is it? Last in, first out, you know? Going kind of back up the list, it kind of feels good. When I get a response from them, I feel like they kind of like that. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, guys. I mean, this is just really it. Like, you can just focusing on what we need to do, what we want to do. What do we need to do? Well, we need to make sure that. Okay, actually, this is a great question. It's good framing, and we should do it live. So what do we need to do? I've been thinking a lot about this and like the cost of living. So as you know, we have been thinking a lot about this, the cost of living, how to reduce the costs for everybody indefinitely, and truly enter the age of abundance. I understand that energy is a big concern or a big focus, and should be so if we want to have this age of abundance that this intelligence boom is hinting at. From machines being made out of sand to just me having a regular supply of filtered water, electricity for just an average human making $100,000 a year in the United States right now. So whatever that energy usage looks like, I feel like that should be baseline for all humans. What is the most important scientific discovery list ranked chronologically that needs to be completed to be able to even unlock the next level? Kind of like boss levels, if you will. A tower. Shout out to Sword Art. Something like that, to where we know, like, okay, like this is the level, this is the level, this is the level. We know where we have to go to get this outcome of abundance for all. So, never said this particular prompt before. Totally unique experience right now, right? Every single prompt is a unique experience. All right, so this is exactly the right way to frame it. It says, not vibes, not slogans, a tech tree with boss fights. Love it. Abundance isn't a single invention, it's a stack. And we already see the outline of the tower. I'll give you a chronological boss ladder. Each level unlocks the next. Miss one, and the game soft locks. Clear them all, and baseline abundance becomes boringly normal. The Abundance Tower. Chronological boss levels. Level 0. Measurement and control. Already mostly cleared. You can't optimize what you can't see. Core unlocks. Cheap sensors, temperature flow, chemistry photons, global data networks, control theory and automation. Feedback loops everywhere. Why it matters. This is the nervous system of civilization. Without it, energy, water, food, and logistics stay wasteful. This is why AI is even possible right now. Level 1, cheap computation. Thinking must be cheaper than labor. Core unlocks. Transistors, integrated circuits, Moore's law style scaling, even if slowing. Specialized accelerators, GPUs, TPUs. Why it matters. This makes intelligence scalable. Once thinking is cheap, coordination becomes cheap. Once coordination is cheap, waste collapses. Status cleared. Okay. Level 2, cheap energy, partially cleared, boss still alive. Abundance is frozen energy. Core unlock, solar plus wind at massive scale. Grid scale storage, batteries, thermal gravity, power electronics, load balancing. Why it matters. Energy underpins everything. Water purification, food production, housing materials, computation, transportation. Status, mid-boss fight. Energy is cheap, but not universally cheap. Storage and distribution are the choke points. Level 3, cheap, clean water, unlocked by Level 2. Water is food, health, stability, and dignity. Core unlocks, desalination, membrane science, UV, and electrochemical purification, modular local systems. Why it matters. If water is abundant, agriculture becomes resilient. Disease drops, cities stabilize, conflict risk plummets. Status, technically solved, politically unfinished. Energy unlocks water, distribution unlocks peace. Level 4, cheap materials, the machines from sand level. Atoms must be rearranged cheaply. Core unlocks. Semiconductor manufacturing. Advanced ceramics. Mass-produced composites. Recycling as default, not exception. Why it matters. Housing tools, devices, infrastructure. This is where cost of living really collapses. Partial clear. We know how. We don't deploy it universally. Level 5. Automated food unlocked by energy and water. Calories should be boringly cheap. Core unlocks. Precision agriculture. Indoor framing. AI-driven logistics. Soil regeneration. Why it matters. Food insecurity is energy insecurity in disguise. Interesting. Yeah. Man. Level 6. It just makes me think there's so many points of optimization. So, really, each one of these levels that are unsolved or partially solved, solved in labs, each one of these has a list of their own. So it's like, this is a section we need to focus on. This is a section. This is helping me learn a lot. So how I need to map it out in my head. It's not like, need to do this and then this. And it's like, there's so many sections that like I could have an agent managing each one of these sections, or collection of agents managing each one of these sections. They're like, hey, think of it as like dev teams for abundance. Level 6, intelligence is infrastructure. We're entering this now. Every human gets a cognitive exoskeleton, core unlocks, AI copilots, education at marginal cost, 0. Medical diagnostics everywhere, local decision-making autonomy. Why it matters. This is where human potential scales, not IQ, throughput. Status, door just opened, yeah. Level 7, coordination without coercion. Final boss. The real boss is social, not technical. Core unlocks, trustless, coordination systems. Transparent governance. Incentives, aligned with long-term health. Systems that reward contribution, not contraction. Not extraction. Why it matters. We already have enough tech to feed a house and power everyone. What we lack is alignment at scale. Status, endgame boss. This is where civilizations usually fail. What baseline abundance actually means. Clean water on tap, reliable electricity, nutritious food, shelter that doesn't consume half your income, access to intelligence, education and healthcare, not luxury, stability, optionality, dignity. That baseline is technically achievable now. Revealed where abundance was already waiting. Locked behind. Energy bottlenecks, coordination failures, legacy incentive structures. Your instinct is right. Energy plus intelligence plus materials equal abundance. Fucking A, dude. Coordination decides whether it's shared. If you want, next we can turn this into a formal tech tree diagram. Probably so. Map which institutions block which levels. Okay. Or design a local abundance stack. What one household or community could do today to live one level ahead of the world. Let's do what you think is best first. I like all of these items. I'll let you choose the order. The tech tree, the local abundance stack for the individual household or community, mapping which institutions block which levels. I feel like that's a little bit outside of this particular scope. Well, not outside of the scope, but I'm thinking of the local abundance stack scope. The formal tech tree diagram seems like it'll come in handy. I do like also this kind of vision I had while I was reading what you wrote, was the idea of each one of these buckets or sections if you will, have list of their own. So I think it's important to have particular action items for particular list buckets that are most important and ranked properly. Cool. All right, perfect. Here's the move I think unlocks everything else cleanly. First, a formal abundance tech tree. Second, each node has a ranked actionable checklist. Third, we end with a concrete local abundance stack V1 for a household, small community. No politics yet, no villains yet, just what exists, what's missing, and what actually moves the needle. The abundance tech tree formalized. Think of this like a civilization, Factorio, RPG tree. Each tier must be cleared before the next is stable. Tier 0, sensing and feedback foundation. See reality, measure reality, correct reality. What this tier unlocks: optimization, automation, early warning systems, waste reduction, core technologies, sensors, chemical, thermal, optical, electrical, networking, control theory, data pipelines. Amazing. Ranked action items, most to least important: ultra cheap sensors, local data ownership, closed loop automation, visualization that normal people understand. Tier 1, cheap computation. Thinking must be cheaper than doing. What this tier unlocks: AI, coordination at scale, predictive systems, core technologies, semiconductors, GPUs/accelerators, distributed computing, open models, ranked action items, local compute availability, edge devices, not just cloud. Cheap, reliable energy, the first real boss. Nothing is abundant without energy. What this tier unlocks: water, food, materials, housing, computation at scale. Okay. Got it. Boss health 60%. Dang, dude. It's like 3 phases left. Okay, clean water abundance. Jeez, man. Okay, tier 4, materials and shelter, machines from sand. Automated food. Okay. All right, what's next? Wow. All right. Next best step. All right, turn this into a visual tech tree. Right, clean, printable, shareable. Then design local abundance stack. Okay, this is definitely turning into a series. I'm gonna stop here. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for helping me discover a little bit more about me.